Hey everyone, since Valentine's Day is right around the corner, I decided to focus on a wrestling couple in the form of action figures. You see behind me Macho Man Randy Savage and the lovely Elizabeth. Not going to talk about them much. Elizabeth, though, I will mention this. Elizabeth, to my knowledge, is the first and for a long time the only female wrestling action figure. Of course, LJN released that action figure back in the uh, 85, 86, probably early 1986, maybe late 1986. But one of the very first, or was the very first, and one of the very few. I always wondered why Hasbro never did an Elizabeth, Sensational Sherry, Luna Vachon, and I always wondered why LJN didn't do Wendy Richter and the Fabulous Moolah. They were still, wrestling was really hot. Women's wrestling in particular was really hot at that time. But I've talked enough about the women who didn't get figures, but here is one that did. A famous couple, of course, the Too Tough series, Series 1, Goldust and Marlena. And this is during the time when Goldust was doing the half face paint. You can see that there. And actually, I'm going to, as they say, I always mention Zach and Kurt Hawkins. I'm going to let these guys breathe. More than 20 years I've had these two figures boxed up and on display. Goldust, of course. And I talked last week, this is kind of a follow-up too, on my Jakks Pacific episode with the very first series of Jakks figures that I had. By the way, these also came, this Too Tough pack came as China and Triple H, and I believe there were a couple of others in that series. I just threw the box down. Let's take a look here, though. Sorry for the interruption. Let's see, we have Chains and 8-Ball and the Interrogator and Recon as well from that Too Tough series. But anyway, Goldust and Marlena. Marlena, one of my all-time favorite women involved in professional wrestling. And actually, other than Elizabeth back there, I believe this is my first female figure. And she's in the dress. She has the cigar. Pretty good detail considering this is I'm thinking 1996, maybe late 96, early 97, somewhere in that time frame. So here, of course, is Goldie. And I mentioned that my other Goldust from that original series had a broken leg from the Bone Cruncher. So, of course, the wig, he and Marlena, they will go up with my other Hasbro. I'm sorry, with the, I've got Hasbro's up there. I've got Jakks Pacific, and I've got the Mattel figures that I have collected through the years. So, again, pretty cool action figure. Goldust, one of my all-time favorite gimmicks, characters. Of course, Marlena. Terry Runnels was on episode, the 1-year anniversary episode of My 123 Cents, the podcast, so go check that out in the archives. Always had a bit of a crush on Terry or Marlena, so here she is in all her glory. She will go on display along with Goldust, or at least half Goldust, half Dustin Rhodes. So thanks, everyone, for watching this week. I'm working on something fun for next week's episode, so be sure to come back, subscribe to the My 123 Cents YouTube channel, and be sure to check out the blog and the podcast and all that good stuff as well. Thanks, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day.